I love snow and I loved winning.
What do you think on the start? Do you focus on something technical? Do you focus on something tactical?
That was a season that I qualified for Olympics and started like skiing top 10, and I'm aiming for that podium spot.
And you know that for a fact because you've been showing that in training time and time again. You can actually be up there with the very, very best.
So those memories are really mixed.
That is a wild story. Hi, everyone. Welcome to a slightly different video today. I'm going to have the pleasure to interview not only a really good World Cup skier, a professional who's been around for more than a decade, I think now, in the World Cup, seen pretty much all of it, but also, in addition to all of that, she's also a good friend of mine, and I'm really happy to introduce you to her today. Her name is Adriana Jelinkova, and yeah, hi Adriana, thank you so much for coming on.
Hi, thank you for having me. Very nice.
Awesome. So the first question that I wanted to start with is, who are you? And maybe you can go back to, your childhood and how you got into skiing.
Well, I was born in the Czech Republic, but I've always lived in the Netherlands. So I'm both Czech and Dutch. And then I moved to Austria when I was 11 years old because I wanted to pursue my dream of becoming a World Cup skier and winning World Cups, of course. So I moved to Bad Gastein, went to the ski school there, and then went to the ski gymnasium with you as my classmate, right, for 5 years, and then studied in Innsbruck, and kind of still living in Austria, and still on the World Cup circuit, and traveling a lot. So yeah, that's me, very international, and yeah.
Okay, so you were born in Czech Republic. Where? Which city?
Yeah. I was born in Brno, so it's the second biggest city in the Czech Republic.
For the biologists and the geneticists out there, this is where Gregor Mendel figured out how genes combine and so on. I've learned this. Anyways, that's an interesting one. And where did you live in Holland?
I lived in a town called Oostgeest. It's not so far from. It's like about an hour from Amsterdam, but it's more like on the west. So it's on the west coast. So it's near to the beach. About half an hour with the bike. So I basically lived on the beach, or almost at the beach. Let's just put it that way.
Okay, this is not okay. And you grew up there, so you went to kindergarten and elementary school there.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, exactly. I did the whole school there. In the meantime, I also did the Czech school because my mom wanted me to learn Czech as well. So I would be able to talk with my family, my Czech family. So in the meantime, I also did 5 years of Czech school where I did like exams every single year. My mom was my teacher, which was awful. So every day when I came back from the Dutch school, I did my homework, my Czech homework, and my mom would correct it when she would come home from work, which was awful if I had a lot of mistakes. So I did basically two schools at the same time, but I'm really happy for it now because I don't have an issue with the language, and I'm skiing for Czech Republic now as well, so it's really definitely comes in handy.
Yeah, for sure. That's a very fun. I have no idea that your mom taught you Czech. That's very interesting. Okay, so you're born in Czech Republic, then lived in the Netherlands near the beach. How on earth did you get into skiing?
My parents, actually. So my parents are really huge, sports freaks. My mom used to ski, also ski race. So it was definitely coming from there. But both my parents liked skiing. So we always went to ski in the little Czech mountains, but mostly also to Austria, to places like St. Anton. And I have like all these pictures where I'm skiing behind my mom, and I really love doing so. And yeah, it was just a hobby actually. I was also playing tennis. But then when I was 6 years old or 5 years old, we met my first coach in Hintertux, so again in Austria on the glacier.
Mhm. Mhm.
And yeah, he really found me, yeah, talented, and wanted to coach me, train me, start training with me. My mom didn't want it actually because she knew how hard it would get. And living in the Netherlands and going for skiing, it's not really smart. But then my dad really wanted me to, since I really showed some good skills. And yeah, I went for it and basically did skiing and tennis until the age of 10. So before I moved to Austria, I had to, um, yeah, I had to decide whether I will whether I will do proceed skiing, my skiing career, or the tennis career, because I was doing it both on like higher levels, and yeah, it was always skiing for me. So
That's
yeah.
okay. Uh, who's that coach? Can you name him?
Yes, that coach is Sigi Mosa. It's
Demos.
actually,
Okay.
he is actually like a fake Dutch. He is actually Austrian. He comes from Saalbach
Uh-huh.
Hinterglemm. But then when he was young, or I don't know when, he came to the Netherlands. He made the first like carpets in the Netherlands that later became ski indoor halls. So he's quite a legend over there, actually. He now lives in Austria again. So he's like, yeah, I don't know whether he's both Dutch and Austrian then. So, um,
Okay. It's a fun.
funny little twist. Yeah.
That's a yeah. That's a fun coincidence.
Yeah.
Okay, so after what was it about skiing? You also play tennis. Tennis is to me at least it's so much more convenient. At least until you're whatever 16 and you have to fly all over the place to tournaments. But
Yeah.
before that, like tennis is so much more convenient. You can go on and off court. It's not that big a hustle. It's not that dangerous too. Why skiing?
Well, there's one simple answer for that. I love snow and always loved snow, and I loved winning. So I was pretty good at tennis. I was actually there. They're really like used to be really good. My generation was really good, actually playing really good in tennis, and the tennis system in the Netherlands is quite good until I think until the juniors. Then I don't know because I never done that. So um, I wasn't always winning. I was winning more in skiing. So definitely, I love to win. That's definitely one thing. But it was also more fun for me to do the whole tennis tournaments. It wasn't as fun for me as the skiing part was. So I just yeah. Plus, I just, snow is so much more fun than gravel. So I love to play around in the mountains and in the snow. And it was just, that feeling and the sound of the snow when you walk over the snow is just unbelievable. I mean, if you just walk over gravel, you don't have that. So I
Mm,
guess I was just always meant to be like on the snow and between the mountains.
yeah, I mean I get it. It's
Yeah.
not that I've decided anything different. Okay, so now you're 11. Take me back to or let's say at the age of 10. How on earth did you decide, or you and your parents decide to move to Austria? Like that must have been a huge step, right?
Definitely. I was the one who decided, so my parents did not have a say in this. So I knew what I wanted. So when I was 11, actually through my coach, we also had another Austrian coach that was working with us. He told me about the Skihauptschule in Bad Gastein. And so there were some tests before that, like the Aufnahmeprüfung. And yeah, I went for that, and it was quite a huge deal. Like, it was even on TV and ORF, and it was amazing. I still have those like those pictures and videos of that. And yeah, I was okay. They took me, and yeah, when I knew, I just went to my school in the Netherlands. It was like basically before summer, and I told my teacher that I'm not gonna be there next year because I'm moving to Austria. And she was totally like, she didn't know what, I mean, she didn't even know it. Usually the parents, tell the teachers. So she called my mom the same day, and she was asking her why she didn't tell her anything, because apparently we're moving to Austria, or I am. So yeah, that's the day when it was decided. I decided, and I even told my mom that, or both of my parents actually. I told them, like, if you don't want to come, I can go to boarding school. It is possible, people do that, but okay, yeah, I was 11. But yeah, my mom wanted to go with me, or she went with me. At that time, my parents separated, unfortunately. But my mom went for it with me, and she just figured out everything herself. So she just went there in a country she didn't like know, or she did know, but it's a totally different system. She took her work with her, which was not a problem. Since she's working for an international company. And yeah, that's just it. I decided because I wanted to be like Herman Meyer. So yeah, that was like that was like I was a huge fan, and I mean, I still am, of course, but
Yeah,
that was like my idol. Yeah,
that is a wild story.
yeah,
That
yeah.
is a
Many
really
people
wild story.
think that the parents decided, but I was the one that decided. Like my mom didn't even want me to
Yeah.
pursue this dream. I mean, she wanted me to have the chance to do so. This is why she did this, but she knew it was not going to be easy,
Mm.
especially then going to Austria as a Dutch girl. It's Austrians are, it's like the skiing country, and for me it was something like, what, if I show them what I've got, I can definitely, maybe I can become Austrian, and I can just ski as an Austrian. That was like, I think that was what was in my head, because in the Netherlands I was kind of like taken as the Czech girl, even though I've never lived in Czech Republic, but because of my name, and I was always an outsider and winning everything. So this was really difficult for me. But then when I got to Austria, I also started winning like Landescups and Bezirkscups, and it was just a little bit too much. And unfortunately for me, they did not like me for that, and they didn't take me in, but took me as like this annoying Dutch girl that's like winning. So that's the reason why I'm not skiing for Austria, actually, because that was my main plan, I think, in that big head of mine.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that was my plan, actually. I thought I would fit
yeah.
in, with the
Okay,
skiing
yeah.
environment. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I can't comment on that very much, but I think that's. I mean, the fact that you're 10 years old or 11 and decided to move to Austria, that I've I've heard a similar story of somebody only once ever, and it's quite crazy actually. Like me at 10 years old, I would have not even thought about thinking about such a thing. Like no way. Uh, that determination, I don't know.
Yeah,
That
it's
is
normal for me.
it's really crazy to me, to be honest. It's
Yeah,
like that's wild.
now when I'm thinking about it, it's crazy how much I knew what I wanted, and I would just
Yeah.
leave my family and my best friends behind. And I, of course, I miss them, and I was not afraid to go learn another language. I mean, it's not that difficult, but still, it's in year 11. And I was preparing in the summer. I just was buying some, German books, and I was starting that way. And it was nice. I mean, they started off, really talking like Hochdeutsch with me, so they were really
Mm-hmm.
kind. And then you learn it. It's definitely, it's been a wild ride. And if I think about it, yeah, I don't know if I would do it again, but I would definitely do some things different,
Mm-hmm.
probably. But you know what? It's always the case. So I have the friends that I've got now is because of that decision. So I wouldn't want to turn that back. So one of my
Yeah, yeah.
best friends is in Austria. So yeah,
Okay, so you said you went to the well, it's a ski middle school, really,
actually, yeah.
in
Now it's in the middle.
Ingolstadt. Yeah, yeah. So and during that time, I got to know you when you were 15, when we were 15, in the in the new school, and so and you said that the time in the during middle school was a little difficult, because you're kicking everyone's ass and not.
Yeah,
Like, and you're not from here, and it's kind of annoying. Uh,
yeah,
did
basically.
that? How did you? How do you feel that that changed? Uh, Turning, like, going to Solfelden.
Well, I mean, for sure. I had a total different idea of what would happen when I would get to Austria. So those 4 years turned out to be very, in one way, like really, I had really some amazing, some great times with now my one of my best friends that is still my best friend, obviously. And we have like so many good memories. We always go through them. But then there was this side of the whole story where, which was my career, and I was winning a lot, and it was really going well, actually. I mean, obviously, I loved it. But the Austrians just really hated me for it, and I really thought they would just take me into their like team, and I would ski for them, and I would be their strength, or I don't know. I just wanted to show them
Mm.
I'm good enough to be part of your team, or like an Austrian, because that was for me. I was looking up like, whoa, this is like the country, the skiing country. So this turned into into something like a really hating sort of story. I really did not have a very good relationship with Austrians. You can't
Mm.
put one nation into a whole nation into one box, but definitely Austrians are not so not so keen of foreigners. So but there are definitely people that are super nice, like you, for example. No, but I just don't. It definitely changed me. I did not want to become Austrian anymore. And I
Mm.
thought to myself, it's good, I'm different, and it's good that way. I'm going to remain as a Dutch girl that's just kicking everyone's asses. And it just gave me strength to, I was winning even because I wanted to piss off other people.
Mm.
But, that does not last forever. So the in the time I came to our new school, the I went, we started FIS, so it was like it was my first FIS year, so that's like totally different league. I wanted to start over again, but there was so much hate inside me as well, and I did not have a coach, and I actually didn't have a coach until I was 18, like a real coach, FIS coach. I was doing something like halfly, a little bit with the school, but it didn't really function with the coaches there because they were, the good guys were with the SV or with the like the Kader, like with their little how would you say that? Yeah, teams. And I was kind of like the rest. I did not have like we didn't have a team on the Dutch team. There was no program, so it was a
Mm.
little bit like the system didn't really function for me because I was like a leftover there.
Mm.
Um, and then I got like my injury the first year from too much strength training. So I didn't even, trust then the coaches around there because it was just too much strength training. And
Mm.
that at that age you're really vulnerable, and the body is changing and everything. So from that moment on, actually, I think maybe I was actually training on my own with my physio, who was also making my plan. So and I never really trained any more like dryland training. I didn't do any dryland training with the school. I actually did everything by myself, even though. So I never had this feeling to be a part of the team, and I think I'm very used to it. But this is something that definitely started growing or changing when I came to Austria, because I was always a loner in a way, but it definitely turned me into this very independent athlete. Not,
Mm.
yeah, there are always good sides to it, obviously, but
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah.
definitely a different person when I came to Southfelden than when I came to Bad So
Okay,
I was
yeah, of
always, yeah, yeah. I
course.
mean, you might have noticed I was not very like outgoing. I kept quite to myself. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Some people would say actually that if when they got to know me better, which were some, not everyone got to know me really good,
yeah.
that I'm like, that I'm like an onion because I have like many layers. Like I'm a total different person when you really get to know me. So yeah, I'm just, I'm very cautious with people. So this is something that this experience gave me.
Mm. Mm. And it makes sense.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, finally, now you understand me. No, I'm kidding.
I know that you've really gotten to, like, or you've really spent a lot of time with Rebecca. Uh,
Oh, we're going back to that
so
one. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
That's one
I
of my friends still. Yeah.
yeah, and I remember her telling me, if you actually knew her, like she's so much more cheeky than you'd think.
I'm so much more
That's
fun
funny.
than you think.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. She got to know me. She got to know me. Yeah. It was funny because our very first camp when we got into school,
Uh-huh.
she we met in Botrop. I don't know if you were there. It was like the
I
first
was there.
training.
That was the first time I met everybody.
Exactly. And we
Yeah.
actually we had to share like a room of 4 square meters. It was like literally so small. Um, and that's when we met, and that's when it clicked. So, and from that day on, we said we would sit together and everything. And thank God, we met because
Yeah.
she was like the Edstallerin, from Sylvan, which for the people that don't know, their accents, like they're really, really bad. Like even Austrians don't understand them. And then
Yeah. That was
um,
me.
there were quite a few that were not understanding, and I'm totally like I always adapt, and I'm really like I want to understand. So we were always like making fun because she was making fun of people because people were telling her in class like, can you please speak German? And then she said like, you know what? Even the Dutch understands me. So what the hell is your problem? It's about adapting. So I just love the challenge, and she's a great person, and I love her
Yeah.
so much. And she's just my friend forever, like my best friend forever. So
Yeah.
if she's gonna see this, she's gonna see it. I'm gonna send her this.
Yeah.
A lot of love to Rebecca.
Okay. So in defense of Austrians, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay. So I want to go back to, or I want to continue in your story. Take me back to your first World Cup race, or at what point were you good enough to whatever ski in the World Cup, ski in the World Championships, or what was that?
Ooh, this is also gonna be a long answer. So let me tell you this.
Perfect.
Many people think that skiing for non-skier countries, it's easy to qualify and everything, but this is not
Well,
the case.
non-skier countries, you've got Hirscher now, so.
Yeah. Well, I don't because I'm not, but he
Oh
he will
yeah,
have to.
sorry. Yeah.
Anyway, Netherlands has its own criteria, so they're very like focused on Olympic Games. So if you have a chance, if they think you have a chance for medals, then they'll like they'll consider it. But they basically make like same rules, same criteria for every single sport. So if you have a sport that has like 5 people in there, and then you have sorry, bobsled. Okay, a little bit more. I'm sorry, I don't want to talk that, but this is just like a comparison.
Yeah.
And then you have the skiing world. You know how many skiers there are, on the FIS list. So you have to be like top 8 in the World Cup or score twice in top 16 to compete in the Olympics. So this is why I didn't get to compete in any of the Olympics just in Beijing then because I qualified. I'm the only one who actually qualified after officially after 75 years in the Netherlands. So they
Jesus
have this
Christ.
huge criteria, yeah. So and this is the same with World Cup. So my first World Cup was in 2012 in Courchevel. My points were actually pretty good and pretty low, but the Dutch Federation would not let me start because they said I don't know, they were always lowering the points even though I was there the only one, and they said like, no, you're not allowed. Then at some point they said, okay, you may, but I can tell you I was nervous as yeah, because basically the guy told me from the federation, the boss that's still there, and that's also one of the reasons that I had to leave. That if I don't get us into the second run, then I'm not allowed to start the next one, even though they said I can start two
Mhm.
for the beginning. I was so nervous, I can tell you. So when I see these girls now starting their first World Cups, they definitely have their own stress. But you know what? I see that they're enjoying and they're really having fun, because they get this opportunity and they can go for it. But I was so stressed, I literally wanted to run away. And then this hill was super icy. They did something like with the water, and it was like everyone was falling out. So I was literally doing it in my pants. I have to tell you honestly. Like my mom was at the start. I was there with my mom, and she was just like, yeah, but I managed to get down somehow with a pretty good time, almost into the finish, but I did not finish then, and I would have actually made it. There were so many out, and there was actually, my story could have been so different. But yeah, I was skiing on Fisher back then, by the way. That was
Mm,
working quite good. Of course, we had to change with the long skis, remember?
mm,
Yeah, so that was also a thing. So that was my first World Cup. So those memories are really mixed, like really stressed, because at that point, honestly, because of this experience and because of the way the Dutch system was, I never really felt at home. I really needed a lot of years to get into the World Cup where I would feel like, okay, I belong here. And not like, because I was literally standing there even day prior for many, many years when we had like the free skiing. The day before, I was really shaking because I was nervous, because I was thinking, I'm just this weird Dutch athlete from the banana country, and I have to earn my spot. Oh my God, I was really like this. So this was definitely a mental part that I needed a lot of time to get rid of that. Like, believe me, I think until 2020 when I started breaking through. It was until then. So it's definitely still a thing. And I actually realized, now we get to the mental part, after many, many years, that I'm confronted with this every single World Cup, because it's something
yeah.
that I've experienced so much. So I'm actually, this is sometimes the thing. So if I'm not in a flow, like if it's not really going well, it just gets tougher mentally, because it's something my body actually, on one hand, I want to be there, I want to go, and I want to win the race, but on the other hand, there's a part of me that actually just wants to run away, and is telling, it's just like a voice inside of myself is telling me, like, why the hell are you doing this? This is just stress. So
Mm,
I actually talked about this with my physio once, and she said this, and she's like, you know what, you're actually like, I mean, you're actually confronted every single race with this, and that's actually the truth. So it's kind of like, in a
mm,
way, a little bit sad that I can't experience it differently, but I've had races already, like my best season before I got injured. I actually got in a flow, and if you ask me how I did that, I think it was kind of like a package with, I had a new coach, which I still have now. I had different skis, new skis. There was Corona, so maybe like the whole thing, it was really quiet. There were no people there. Like this whole loud circus was not there. And this was maybe even, I took it as an advantage, because there was so much focus on Corona that I could actually just, take the pressure away in a way. And yeah, so now I guess I just told you a whole story. There's so much behind that. So those are the memories from my first World Cup race, and the first World Champs in Schladming 2013. Well, same story. I was so nervous, and it was so icy, and I did not feel. I was allowed to ski the GS. Wow, I did not have a good feeling on that hill. Definitely not. But it was always a goal that I had with my first coach, 2013 in Schladming. Um, and yeah, I've skied many world champs since then, so I've got
yeah,
some better feelings from those.
that's wild. I I think that that's perhaps the most underrated or underappreciated part of being a professional athlete. It's like, because people assume that it's this happy, chill life where you just get to ski and then train a little bit, and then you have your physio and you do stuff,
If you have a
and
physio,
then you show up to the race and you race, and that's it. It yeah,
yeah,
it actually comes with, as you put it extremely well now. It comes with a lot of pressure and a lot of well, it's not all uphill. That's for sure. But hey, on a positive note, you still did really well,
yeah,
and
thanks.
you've managed to. I don't know. I think you've managed to develop away to be a part of the World Cup, um, that kind of fits you, and it seems like you've settled in.
I mean,
So
I'm still chasing. It's been
yeah,
definitely my injury has cost me a little bit of a a break in between when I
was that
started.
in 21?
Yes, that was the season that I qualified for Olympics and started like seeing top 10. And yeah, then it's unfortunately, yeah, in my career, I've had a lot of like, I don't want to say it, I'm not pitying myself, definitely not. It
Mhm.
made me the person I am today, which there's some good stuff, there's some stuff that I'm still working on. Um, but yeah, there hasn't been so much luck in my career, I would say, but I have luck in other things. I try to tell myself I'm healthy. I have a really nice family, a very caring family. I have my mom, otherwise, I would not be doing this. People that are supporting me privately. That's also the reason why I can still do this, because I've never had a system behind me who was supporting me. So yeah, really trying to see the positive things.
So it was a torn ACL, right?
Yes, the front, yeah. Only
Okay.
only the ACL. So I did not have any meniscus and everything. It was more of a bad luck, I would say. Actually, at that day, I felt
Hmm.
my knee because I straddled actually a month, 2 months prior in slalom before Levy. And I
Hmm.
think that was when I tore it a little bit already. I had something in there. So it was more like a bad luck. I don't really have a trauma of that fall or yeah, it was just, I think it's bad luck because my knees are actually really, really strong. So, um, but all good now. It's healed very, very well, and it's
Hmm.
part of my journey. So,
Yeah, yeah. How how long did it take you to get back the strength in that leg? Because for me, like when I tore my ACL, I was 15, I believe.
very young.
14, 15. Yeah, yeah. And for me, it took me more than a year, I believe, until it was back uh,
Yep.
at the level of the other leg. Let's say. How's that for you?
Well, maybe even longer. Honestly, there are many, which I think that is also maybe the issue when they uh, tear their ACL, because it happens quite often.
Hmm.
People start doing strength training, maybe the second, third, fourth month already, whereas I had some difficulties because I have like this lemare on the side. It's like this, they're doing this now actually. They also do it with soccer players. They do it with women in between that are like, I was 25. It's like this extra attachment in like from the side into your ACL, like, and yeah, I don't know. It's just, yeah, it was really stiff. I couldn't stretch properly, so I had some really real difficulties. So everything went
Hmm.
much much slower. Um, but I actually took this like as maybe an advantage because I did not start strength training too soon. I also didn't want to. So my leg was actually tiny, way tinier than my other leg for a very long time. And people maybe were even seeing that, or if I would show them or whatever. But the thing was that in my first season, I never had any pain with my knees. So I might have been lighter, but I was like, the agility and everything was there. So I didn't have any pain, which I hear often now from girls that, they're still having pain, and I don't have that. I just have a little bit of a, that knee always feels a little bit more sensitive to weather or something. But pain, knock knock. I don't want to,
Hmm.
um, but then actually the year after I started doing more strength training. But I think that maybe 2 years after, it was like it started like being similar to the right one, and the left one actually, the injured one, is still a little bit tinier than the right one. It has a little bit of a different shape. It's not much, but it's just sometimes the doctor also told me sometimes it's just the case. It doesn't mean that it's not stronger. So it took me, I could say probably 2 years or something, but I did not push this, because I still feel after 3 years that it's changing and it's getting more back to normal.
Okay, well, that's good to know, I guess. And it's also quite useful to know if you're a skier and you're currently injured. It's like it takes
Yeah,
a long time and it takes a lot of patience, but eventually it'll, well, hopefully at least,
yeah,
uh, uh,
yeah.
at least for you and for me,
In the
it got a lot better
beginning
again.
it feels, yeah, in the beginning it feels like you won't be able to ski again because you can't even visualize that you will
Mm.
ever step on that foot, right? It was
Yeah,
my
yeah,
first injury, so with the surgery, so it was really scary. But
yeah. How was
being,
that getting back to snow after so many months? How did that feel?
oh, it felt really good. It felt actually, I found the part getting in the boot the most
Huh?
difficult. The pushing with the toe and inside the boot. So I was practicing this already, but because it was like I don't know, it felt strange and I was a bit scared to do it. But skiing actually felt like I've never left. But definitely, I went like skiing indoor hall for 2 3 days. Um, I think in the 8th month or 7th month, something like this. But then I took like another month because my leg was really still too weak, like strength wise. But it was there, like it could take the angles and everything. It was like the first feeling. It was more like a mental thing. The knee was holding, but it was like mental. Yeah.
Okay, and did that happen to you too? That you felt a little more, I don't know, gratitude for having a healthy body now? Does that help?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I've been actually having last 2 seasons issues with my back again, which was my first injury,
Yeah.
the hernia.
Uh-huh.
Uh, so this is something that's like definitely still my weak spot. It's not, so when people ask me about my knee, I'm like, oh no, yeah, that's fine, but my back is like really giving me trouble. So I figured out that like all the trauma is actually in my back.
Mhm.
So I've had a lot of stress last season, and I had so many issues. I with digestion as well and everything. But my knee has been really nice to me. So
Okay.
uh, it's more like my back is really but after an injury, your stance it changes because I'm using this leg differently now. So my leg is more like I use it a little bit more as a short, like as it would be shorter, because it doesn't. It's not as flexible as the right one. But it's still like kind of like by the years, it's getting a little bit better. But this is something that we figured out while I was walking, and actually walking was the hardest for me. Like all other sort of stuff, like getting on the ball and doing some coordination, I was really good at it like right away again. But the most simple thing was the most difficult for me, and that was walking. I needed 9 months to not limp anymore.
Jeez.
Yeah, it just wouldn't stretch. I couldn't. it it,
Okay,
it
yeah.
was really annoying. Yeah.
Hmm. Interesting. And well, so how's the back now? How do you feel right now?
It's good. I feel good. I have some sore muscles from training, honestly. So the last 2 days, Jesus, my dryland coach has been giving me quite a quite a training.
What did you
But
do?
I'm doing good. Sore muscles, it's good. So back is doing good. The
Huh?
knee is doing good. Yeah,
Huh?
I have to do a lot of like gymnastics and everything. Like I'm really trying to listen to my body, and it's still difficult because I always want to do too much.
Mhm.
So I'm still learning. I'm still learning.
Mhm.
When is
What?
it?
Sorry. What did you do for dryland the last 2 days?
So currently I'm in like the explosiveness. We started doing explosiveness because yeah, actually this week. So yesterday I actually had a lot of squatting, but explosive squatting and then some like half squatting. I actually am the kind of person who doesn't do a lot of squatting and rather takes less weight, and I'm definitely not the one that's competing with the weights because I rather do them super clean and because my back really does not like squats. It's not,
Mhm.
I don't really understand why people are doing this that much. but definitely doing the cleans a lot. And but yesterday some jumping, so some squat jumps as well. A lot of core lately, a lot, like really a lot, because we try to really compensate, like so my back can relax better. um and then today I had some, quickness sprints and stuff, and upper body actually in the fitness, because yesterday was leg day, even though I still had sprints today.
Mm.
Um, yeah, and usually I also put the windsurfing somewhere, but there was no wind yesterday nor today, so maybe that's even better because yes, I do a little bit too much. So yeah, tomorrow I actually have a bike session, and I work. So I work at least once a week. I work at the windsurf school.
Mhm.
Uh,
Where is that for everybody to maybe you can plug
it's
that too?
yes, I'm on a Lago di Garda, so Lake Garda, and in Torbole. Yeah, it's
That's
like
Italy, by the way.
it's Italy, yes,
Italy.
Trentino, and it's a real spot for the athletes. Like you can do everything. You can climb, you can kite, windsurf, bike. It's like you can do everything. You can do so much. It's amazing.
Mm.
Yeah, so I work once a week. I work at the windsurf school, and it's really fun because it's something different in between the training and focusing on my training. So it's really fun. It's like my social day. It's so much fun. I get to speak all my languages. There's so many tourists at the moment, so it's really busy. And yeah, so that's actually it. So yeah, but tomorrow in the morning there might be wind, so I get up at 6 o'clock so I can start surfing, and then I have to be at the surf school at 8:30. And in between, I have to manage the breakfast as well. So I already made my breakfast for tomorrow, so I have it. Yeah. So it's
Mhm.
busy. It's busy.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. Since we're on a positive note, how about how about you tell us your goals for, let's say, next season or the next 2 seasons? Like, what's the? Uh, I mean, obviously, you've still got something left to prove.
Yeah.
Uh,
Otherwise, I would not be doing this anymore. No. I would
so
only be surfing. So
you'd
same
be
time it's
full-time windsurfing.
that's the second career. Yeah, it's coming, guys. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, before that, what do you want to do? Tell us next 2 years or
So
next 1 year, next 2 years.
definitely the focus is on Cortina, the Olympic Games. It's been like I've never really been very much focused on Olympics since the World Cup is really a lot. It's like the thing in skiing.
Mm-hmm.
But come on, Cortina, I love Italy. It's an amazing spot. And then again, it's really something special. I have competed for the Netherlands in 2022 in Beijing, and I had a really bad experience, unfortunately,
Mm-hmm.
because of Corona and this. It was a bit of bad luck. Well, it was terrible. So I would like
Mm-hmm.
to give myself a nice experience where I will be representing Czech Republic in this case, but still in my heart also, a little bit of, I do it for myself, but definitely go for the medals there because I want to go, full gas. And
Yeah.
so GS definitely, and giant slalom, I'm a little bit better. I'm better at the moment. So still, first we have the world champs at home for me in Saalbach, 2025. So next season. So that's gonna be like a home world championships for me, which will be very special. I already qualified, so I'm definitely gonna be there. So yeah, I don't really like to set myself some limits or goals because I really just wanna ski fast, and focus on my runs. So I'll finally get those good training runs into the race again. So it's basically a mental thing,
Mm-hmm.
but definitely getting into the top 20, like really like for the finals in the GS, really
Mm-hmm.
establish myself there. I would say top 15, but let's just say top 20 or start with top
Yeah.
25. So I'll get into the finals,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
make a nice world champ result as well in the giant slalom. Let's say top 15 maybe. Yeah, it's difficult to say, but and then also get my slalom up to speed a little bit. So I love slalom, and to qualify for that second run, yeah, I need some more consistency definitely, because I'm lacking that since my
Mhm.
injury. I've been skiing way more GS. Um, do a little bit more speed, like for training, because I love doing that. But so yeah, establish myself really into that top 15 in the next 2 years. I want to get a podium. Obviously, I'm aiming for that podium spot. Otherwise, I would not
Mhm.
be that. I have to be realistic, which I am. There's a lot of hard work to do and mental work. It's mostly mental for
Mhm.
me, definitely. And yeah, you know how it is in skiing. Everything has to function. Your skis have to function the way it's done. The tuning, the boots, my mental state, then the course. What kind of course is it? So that's what makes skiing so uh, challenging and interesting.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And I mean, you said you didn't want to. I don't know. You don't want to overdo
talking about
the
results,
the
yeah, I
the
don't
aiming.
really.
Yeah, talking about results. Of course not. Of course
There's
not.
definitely something that I want and that I'm aiming for.
Yes, yes, yes. Um, but of course, thinking about results before you start racing isn't really the way to achieve anything, because it's just like that's not really the way to think about it. So the question is, what do you think on the start? Do you focus on something technical? Do you focus on something tactical? What's the like? Where's your mind at before you start?
Um, well, in my best runs, I must say I was just really like in the. I remember Kranjska Gora, my best race so far in
Uh-huh.
the giant slalom. I was just so in the flow. I did not have any worries. I felt really confident about the icy conditions, and I was really confident, and I was not having any second thoughts. I was really only focusing on this skiing part. So for me, it's important to not be over focused for too long, because there's quite a waiting time before the you get to the start. But then the last couple of minutes really pump myself up and make myself a bit aggressive, because I really am a little bit too nice. Or it's you need to be wild out there. So I need a little bit of that aggressiveness. I go once more through the course with my coach, and then once I visualize once more just before I start. But then I let go, and then it's like I put my poles over that start gate, and then it's just, I don't know. I scream myself out sometimes because I just do that. I don't know. Um, yeah, of course, the whole warm up. It's something. There's a whole waiting game before
Mhm.
before you start the first run, depending on the number. Um, I watch some of the girls, some of the best girls, but not too much. I also don't really. There are athletes that like to have a course report, but in this case, I don't really like that, because I really just I know what to do, and if there's a hole somewhere, or something, I will react, because if you tell me where there is a hole or something, I'm just gonna put the brakes on. I mean, this is like something for me, so I have to be totally free and comfortable, and then really just, it's this kind of like balance between a really calm mind and like like a wild lion that wants to chase his steak or something. It's not so easy to find though. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I know. I know.
yeah.
Uh, Never found it really for me.
It's
The
not easy.
balance. It's
Yeah,
really, yeah,
it's personal. It's very personal.
yeah. It's like dancing on a rope a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard. Okay. Uh, okay. So now that we know the goals, uh, and and we know what you're aiming for, uh, can you maybe, as a final part, can you maybe tell us about your sponsorship situation or lack thereof?
Yes. So basically, I've always been doing everything myself with some private sponsors and my mom again. In this case, I have a little bit of a budget from the Czech Ski Federation, but it's not even 25% of what you need for a World Cup season.
Mm.
Um, so this is definitely something I'm struggling with. It's also one of the reasons that one of the reasons that I've often thought about quitting, because I just can't take the pressure anymore. But I definitely am searching for sponsors there, or partners that really suit my style, obviously, and that would like to go on this journey until Cortina with me. I think it's something really special. And I definitely got more in store. Otherwise, I would, otherwise, I wouldn't be doing this anymore. It's been really, it's been a fight, but it's a beautiful sport. So,
Mm.
um, yeah,
And
I'm,
just to make it, sorry to jump in here, and just to make it very clear, I mean, you're incredibly humble, and you wouldn't.
yeah, I'm a bit too
I don't.
humble. I hear that often, but yeah, I
No, I
like,
mean, obviously you are. It's not very hard to see that you're humble, and I think it's a virtue on some level. But to make it very clear, I mean, you've said it. You said a little bit before that you know that uh, you've got a medal in you at least, like, and you know that for a fact because you've been showing that in training, time and time again, that you can actually be up there with the very, very best, not to name names, but the very, very best.
it's been, yeah, I
Wink,
mean,
wink.
we know, we know, what's holding me back all these years, or the reason that I don't have the results that I really think that I don't have what I want to have, and that's also why I'm still here, is
Mm,
mostly because of, like, really this huge baggage, burden, of
mm,
financial insecurity, and always
mm,
having to figure out season after season whether I can go on, and counting, with my mom, whether we can still, do this. And this has been really, this is not a help in the start gate. I would love to have, to see what I can do if I know that if I know that for 2 seasons I'm okay and I can just focus
mm,
on skiing, because then I
mm.
would really like to see myself flying out there and do what I can, because this is what's been stopping me.
Yeah,
And that's why I can't quit yet, because I really know there's way more that I can
yeah.
achieve. So yeah,
Awesome. Thank
because of
you. Thank you very much. That
thank
was
you,
awesome.
thank you.
So now it's on to you, the viewer. Maybe if you're interested in supporting Adriana, we'll put some links in the description. Uh, I think you can tell that she's awesome, and maybe you want to see her, and maybe you want to support her. And if you can't support her, maybe you can share this interview.
And
And
everything helps, guys. It's
yeah,
everything is yeah, is a help. So thank you for
yeah,
listening.
yeah. Exactly. Thank you, thank you for listening. And well, maybe we can do this again. I'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, but I definitely enjoyed. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.